1 stick of butter or a 1/4 pound in a skillet nonstick, and we're gonna melt the butter and add onions. Okay, so I've got my chopper that I use. It's a Pampered Chef, and I've just got it set so it's slicing. I've got my 10-pound bag of yellow onions, and this machine is fast because you just press down and it slices the onions. So we're gonna do that with the whole 10-pound bag. Okay, so I've got half of the 10-pound bag of onions in this nonstick frying pan. I've turned it on high just to get it going, but I'm going to turn it down to medium low, and I'm just going to let it caramelize. And once it starts to get stuck to the bottom and caramelized, I'm going to put a little water in it and scrape up the bottom and let it reduce down again. And I can keep doing that until I get it to the color I want. And while I'm working on this, I'm going to continue to slice the other half of the bag of the onions. Okay, so the pan is started to heat up pretty good, and it's starting to get a little bit of color. So what I'm going to do now is I'm turning it down to the medium low. So on mine it's about 4, and I'm going to put a lid on it. That's going to help it cook quicker and break down. Okay, so this has been cooking for 5 minutes or so. I've stirred it a few times, and you want to make sure that it's not sticking, and you really don't want this part of it to go too fast. So to me, this looks like some of these are getting fairly dark, so I'm just going to turn it down a tad, and as you can see, the onions are really starting to break down. So I'm just going to turn it down. Currently I have it on 4. I'm going to turn it down to like 3. And then I'm going to put the lid back on and stir it a couple more times in the next 5 minutes. Okay, so it's been another 5 minutes and I've stirred it a bit. At this point I'm going to leave the lid off. Because I do this a lot, I know if I need more butter. You don't want it swimming in butter, but you don't want it to be dry. So if it is, depending on how many onions you're doing, and this is about 5 pounds of sliced yellow onions. So I'm just going to let it continue to cook. I'm just going to keep stirring it every few minutes or so and let it reduce down, and I'll come back when I'm adding some liquid. All right, so I'm just going to keep cooking these and get them down to the color that I want. And when I'm stirring them, I can see that there is some brown stuff building on the bottom of the pan, and that's okay. Usually the onions have enough moisture in that it will bring that up on its own. If it doesn't and it starts to build, that's when I'm going to add some liquid, whether that be sometimes I do beef stock, depending on what I'm actually using it for. But today I'm just leaving these. I'll add a little water if I have to lift that fond up off the bottom and continue to caramelize. And I'm not using any spices, salt and pepper, balsamic, or sugar, or anything like that, because these are going to be for many different recipes. So I'm just showing you how I break them down so that I can use them. Here's an example of the fond that's building on the bottom of the pan. And if I scrape these onions around, it's going to lift it off. But that's because this is a non-stick. But if your pan's really sticky, then this is when you would add some water to lift that off. And all I had to do was just stir these up, and the moisture in the onions are lifting it on its own. Okay, so here's where I'm going to stop my onions. They're lightly browned. You can keep going with it and get them as brown as you want, but the reason why I'm pulling mine at this stage is because these onions are going to be used in many recipes, and I'll probably either brown them a bit more before using them, or they're going to continue to cook in whatever I'm cooking. So this is where I would pull it. And I do have another way that I do them as well, and it's for when you don't have the time to sit here and babysit it. So I'm also going to post another video with how I do it when you don't have time. So stay tuned. Okay, so here's my 5 pounds of caramelized onions. I got them in a bowl to cool so that I can use them in several recipes. I didn't have to add any liquid to scrape up the fond on the bottom of my pot, but if I had, I would have added it in and then scraped it up so that it was off the pot, and then if it built again, I would continue to add the liquid to continue to bring it off until you get it to where you want them. So if I was using these on something that I wanted them a little darker than what they are now, then I would do that method and continue adding moisture to lift the fond to get them browner. And the reason why I used the lid in the beginning was it steams the onions and breaks them down quicker. So stay tuned to my next videos, because I'm going to show you how to do this without babysitting it.